Good evening, and welcome to today's deep dive into one of the most pressing issues gripping the U.S. government. Imagine waking up to find that the very machinery of your government, the one that's supposed to keep the lights on, quite literally, has ground to a halt. Parks closed, museums shuttered, and hundreds of thousands of workers wondering when their next paycheck will come. That's the reality right now in America, as the federal government shutdown stretches into its third week. Today, on October 15th, 2025, we're focusing on this escalating crisis, the 2025 U.S. government shutdown, a standoff that's not just about budgets, but about deep-seated policy divides threatening everyday lives. Stick with me as we unpack how we got here, who's affected, and what might break the deadlock. Let's dive in. First, a quick rewind to set the stage. Every year, Congress must pass appropriations bills to fund government operations for the fiscal year starting October 1st. This time around, lawmakers hit a wall. On September 30th, with no deal in sight, the clock struck midnight and non-essential federal functions ceased at 12:01 a.m. on October 1st. The course ticking point. Democrats pushed for a continuing resolution that would extend critical Affordable Care Act tax credits set to expire at year's end. Credits that have slashed premiums and helped drop uninsured rates to historic lows. Republicans, led by House Speaker Mike Johnson and backed by the Trump administration, rejected that, opting instead to let the shutdown roll as leverage for broader spending cuts. It's like two sides at a poker table, each bluffing that the other will fold first. But meanwhile, the pot public services is evaporating. Now, fast forward to today. We're on day 15 of the shutdown, and there's no end in sight. Capitol Hill is eerily quiet on negotiations. The Senate isn't even voting until later this week. Speaker Johnson has warned this could become the longest shutdown in U.S. history, surpassing the 35-day record from 2018 to 2019. President Trump, never one too shy from the spotlight, has been vocal on Truth Social, directing Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to reroute billions from military research funds to ensure troops get their mid-month paychecks today. That's about $8 billion shifted from unobligated research, development, testing, and evaluation pots, funds meant for innovation, now plugging payroll gaps. It's a band-aid fix, sure, but it underscores the chaos. Our service members keep defending the nation without missing a beat, yet their financial security hangs by a thread. The human toll is where this gets real and heartbreaking. Over 800,000 federal employees are either furloughed or working without pay. Think about that: air traffic controllers guiding planes, TSA agents screening luggage, all showing up unpaid. Furloughed workers, like those at the Smithsonian, are home twiddling thumbs, their bills piling up. Speaking of the Smithsonian, as of Sunday, all 21 museums, research centers, and the National Zoo closed their doors, dipping into prior year funds until they couldn't anymore. Iconic spots like the National Air and Space Museum shuttered, the pandas at the zoo out of public view. And it's not just culture taking a hit. National parks like Mount Rushmore are dimmed at night, with South Dakota's governor personally chipping in to keep the lights on. Tourists planning D.C. trips. Forget White House tours, Capitol visits, or FBI headquarters peeks. All canceled. Broader services are fraying too. Social Security checks. They'll keep coming, but don't expect quick help with new claims or earnings corrections. SNAP benefits for food assistance continuing for now, but if this drags past 30 days, disruptions loom. Immigration processing at CBP, ICE, and USCIS. Mostly ongoing, but backlogs will swell. Tax filers with extensions due today. You still have to file, but refunds might crawl, and healthcare. Medicare and Medicaid chug along, but outreach or updates stalled. It's a patchwork of essential versus non-essential. But let's be honest, that label feels arbitrary when your livelihood's on the line. Economically, the ripples are widening. Past shutdowns have shaved billions off GDP. The 2018 to 2019 one cost $11 billion, with $3 billion never recovered. This time, aerospace and defense suppliers are already sounding alarms about supply chain snarls. Small businesses near federal sites suffering from absent customers, and the irony. While politicians point fingers, the public pays the price. Democrats blame Republicans for weaponizing the shutdown to gut health care. Republicans counter that Dems are holding the nation hostage over entitlements. It's a classic Washington tango, lots of steps, zero progress. But here is where a touch of satire creeps in. Isn't it almost comical how predictable this has become? Congress kicks the can down the road until the 11th hour, then acts shocked when it explodes. We've seen this movie before. Shutdowns in 2013, 2018, now 2025. Each time, the script flips parties, but the plot stays the same. Brinkmanship over budgets, with ordinary folks as extras. If only they could. Fonda rewrite for cooperation. Light criticism aside, the real issue is fairness. Similar standoffs in the past were judged harshly regardless of who held power. This one deserves the same scrutiny. The event itself, the failure to govern basics, highlights systemic gridlock, not just partisan jabs. Looking deeper, this shutdown isn't isolated. The Trump administration's using it to advance Project 2025-style reforms, like mass firings of federal workers deemed non-essential or disloyal. A federal judge stepped in today, blocking those reductions in force RIFs via an emergency order from the union representing thousands. Critics call it vindictive. Proponents say it's trimming fat for taxpayers. Either way, it adds fuel to the fire, making compromise tougher. Democrats like Senator Chris Van Hollen argue the law doesn't grant extra firing powers during shutdowns. Meanwhile, the White House insists on staying on offense. So, what's next? No crystal ball here, but history suggests shutdowns end when pain mounts, either from public outcry or economic hits. Bipartisan talks could resume, perhaps tying a short-term funding patch to healthcare extensions, but with midterms looming in 2026, neither side wants to blink first. If it drags, expect more creative funding shifts, like the military pay maneuver, but those are finite. The Aerospace Industries Association urges action to keep America flying, warning of national security risks. In wrapping up, this shutdown is more than a fiscal hiccup. It's a symptom of deeper divides in how we fund priorities like health, defense, and welfare. It affects real people, the furloughed analyst missing mortgage payments, the veteran waiting on VA services, the tourist whose dream trip fizzles. As viewers, stay informed, contact your reps, and remember, government works for us, not the other way around. Thanks for joining me on this critical topic. We'll keep tracking developments. Stay engaged.